Welcome back. Here we are for part 2 of our interview with Mark the Fight Shark Miller, right here at youtube.com/MMA Nonstop.
Let's talk a little bit about this documentary. You've talked about many interviews, and the documentary is going to kind of show a lot of it. So, Fight Shark movie. When did the camera start following you, and how's that experience been? Has it changed much of how you're living?
Not really. I mean, at first it's a little strange. They started filming actually in February of '09, so it's about 27 months now. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you get used to it. I mean, maybe a little bit at first it's weird because you're especially if you're out at a public event and you've got a couple people with cameras following you. Other people are like, "What the hell's going on?"
Sure.
I mean, it's a little less in LA. I mean, I live in LA, so it's easier to get away with that because it's LA. But it really hasn't affected me. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't even notice it at this point whenever they film, because it's just I'm serving a greater good. I mean, the responses I've gotten from people that have had heart surgery, whether they're, I've had responses from 13-year-old kids, 22-year-old kid who I've been in contact with, who got into Muay Thai and training because of me, who's had the same heart surgery as I had it at 3 months, and he had it at age 18. I mean, when you hear this kind of stuff and the stuff people have overcome, and if my story can inspire them or make them feel like, they can come back to do something, that makes it all worth it. So that's the reason I ever agreed to do the documentary in the first place, was because of the outpouring from people that matter. I mean, the AOL story came out yesterday. I had 3 people open up Twitter accounts so they could talk to me after reading the story yesterday. So that makes it all worth it. These are people that have been through heart surgery and want to know, what did I do to get through it? I have a 13-year-old boy who actually lives in Austin named Jacob, who's getting ready to have his 3rd, open heart surgery because of CHD, which is a congenital heart defect that I was also born with. So, to be able to help him and get him through it, that makes it all worth it. None of the other stuff matters. So if my fight, I'm doing this for me, but if it does help other people, then it's all worth it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, you see how much the reach that your story's had right now, and that's even before the documentary's out. I can't imagine that when the documentary comes out, what a larger impact it's going to have on people. So what a great inspirational story there.
Thank you. It's just, I didn't really do anything. I just, just living my life, and I'm happy that it is helping other people. The more the merrier.
Well, that's great. Touching back, just before we close, just a little bit on this fight this upcoming weekend. You're one of the first American kickboxers, to be featured on, in the kickboxing section of an Ultimate Glory card. What is that?
Actually, the first. Then me and Mo, and Mo's also fighting on the card, Mighty Mo. So we're the first 2 kickboxers to actually fight on our card.
Yeah, and what does that mean to you? And then also, how does that say about how internationals view American kickboxing?
Well, I mean, it's a big deal to me. You can understand. I've been doing this professionally 15 years. I mean, I fought my first K1 fight in '99, so I understand. I mean, we're not, especially in this rules context, we're not seen as much of a threat. Think about how many Americans have ever fought on a Grand Prix. You can count them on one hand. You got Carter, Mighty Mo, Maurice Smith back in the day. So there's not a lot of guys, and trying to raise the credibility that there are some American kickboxers that actually can hang with the Europeans is a big deal. I mean, it's an honor for me to fight for them. I mean, they're one of the best promotions in the world right now, as far as, especially, they got a great mix of MMA and kickboxing. And for me, it's a big deal because I'm also a fan. And, the guy I'm fighting, Nikolai Follin, his last fight was Gokhan Saki. Gokhan Saki's also on the card. You got Errol Zimmerman on the card. Sergey Antonov's on the card.
Sure.
I mean, Nikki Holson is fighting Artur Kashenko. I mean, there's a lot of good kickboxers on the card with K1 Max and K1 experience. So, as a fan, it's an exciting card. but I just want to be able to put my imprint. I mean, this isn't just, hey, this is the guy coming back from open heart surgery, but I want to put a stamp on, you know, in the worldview for me as a kickboxer and for American kickboxers. You know, there is some talent here, and if we can start showing it, hey, that's another great thing.
That's great. What, you know, you're 39. What are your goals right now? I mean, obviously take it one fight at a time, but do you have any kind of goals that you still want to achieve in kickboxing?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I'm taking it one fight at a time, but like I said, I've got great trainers, and I've got a lot of great support behind me. I want to take it as far as I can. You know, there's a lot of things because of personal issues, because of the heart that I never got to achieve in my first career. And you know, not many people get a second chance, and I'm getting a really big one. And I want to prove not only to the world but to myself that I'm capable of the things that Maurice Smith told me in the '90s, that I could, you know, that I could be a world champion. So, you know, I just take one fight at a time, and I'm just going to climb up that ladder and fight the best fights and the best fighters, and see where the chips fall. It's that simple.
Well, that's great, Mark. We wish you the best of luck this weekend and safe travels. How can people find you online?
Best way right now is probably on Twitter, which is at FightShark_com. Hopefully we'll be relaunching my website after this fight, but that is the best way to find me because, you know, it's easy to talk on Twitter. You guys are on there, you know that.
Yep.
So that's the best place to find me. And, you know, thank you for having me on the show. I get to have a nice, fun 17-hour flight.
Yep.
LA to Chicago, Chicago to Helsinki, Helsinki to Moscow. So.
Well, I hope I don't envy you. Hopefully you have some stuff to keep you busy on the flight. Any sponsors you want to plug before you go?
Yeah, so far for this fight, you know, I'd like to thank Headblade, Fight Game. I'd like to thank Planty Watches, ForYouNutrition.com. I mean, there's, you know, that. And obviously Rob Kamen and Buddy McGurk for great training, and then Steve Malero at Breakthrough Strength and Conditioning. So that's about it.
Right on. Well, Mark, hey, your story is very inspirational, and again, we wish you the best of luck. We'll be looking forward to seeing how you do, but hopefully you'll come back and speak to us again as you get ready for your next fight. And best of luck to you. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks for joining us today on the MMANonstop.com podcast.
MMANonstop.com, the first place for news and notes online. MMANonstop.com, the fight starts here.